Part 43. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 421. Chapter 421, Stabbing His Mother. This anchor can only tell fortunes, not exorcise evil spirits. You should leave quickly. If it's too late, you too will be haunted by ghosts and you will be unlucky for the rest of your life. Lu Yulian said anxiously. Anchor, is what she said true? Qiao Ningxun patted her hand, motioning her to calm down, and took a closer look at the house in front of her. 2 minutes later, she said, fake it, there are no ghosts in this house. Your house is clean. No, the place where your building is also clean. It used to be a field without any graves. She has been reborn and is still cultivating immortality. She can't say that there are no ghosts in the world. Although she has been practicing for more than 2 years, she has never seen a ghost, but there may not be ghosts in this world. Lu Yulian suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Then why did she lie to me? Qiao Ningxun stepped forward, looked at the girl's face, raised her eyebrows and said, I'll have to ask your father. Lu Yulian was stunned. Ask my father. Qiao Ningxun, let me tell you the truth, he is not a girl, he is actually a boy. He is your father's illegitimate son. He is exactly 18 years old this year. However, because he stabbed his biological mother before, your father was disappointed with him, so he kicked him out. Leave and put his mother somewhere where he can't find her. But he doesn't think it's him who made his father unhappy. He thinks it's because of your sister that your father doesn't like him. After knowing that your father bought you this house, he became even more jealous. Because he feels that as a son, he did not get a house from his father, and even now food and clothing are a problem as a girl, you are not worthy of getting the house donated by his father. So I deliberately said there is a ghost here and want to drive you out. Then he used the excuse that he was the only one who could suppress the evil here, and asked to stay for a period of time. If you don't drive him away, that's fine. If you drive him away, he will burn the place down. He can't get it himself, and he won't want your sister to get it. The boy's face was extremely frightened. This man was too powerful. How did he get all his inner thoughts right? The last time he entered Qiao Ningxun's live broadcast room, although her fortune-telling seemed real, he felt that fortune-telling was just pretending to be a ghost. Those clients of hers must be her trustees, and they don't think she has any real ability at all. That's why he dared to impersonate her. If he had known that she was so powerful and a real person, he would not have impersonated her. Haha, it turns out to be another farce. Such a beautiful person is actually a boy. Another trouble caused by a smelly man who can't control his lower body. That's right, a disgusting scumbag who leaves seeds everywhere and specially targets his first wife and her children. Looking at this person's face, the anchor must have been right again. Looking so good looking, if you don't stab your mother, your future will definitely be bright. Yes, this society is a society that values appearance. Good-looking people really find it easier to walk in society. That's right, that's why so many people go for plastic surgery. Lu Yulian looked at the boy with a complicated face. Then you must be Lu Yurong, right? Lu Yurong smiled bitterly. You actually know me, Lu Yulian. I know, in the past 10 years, my mother and my father have quarreled countless times because of you. Of course, my father originally protected you and supported you. But after knowing that you stabbed your mother and ran away, I was disappointed in you. After sending your mother away, I gave her a sum of money and started living a good life with my mother. Referring to his mother, Lu Yurong said excitedly, I didn't mean to hurt my mother. It was her fault. I fell in love with a girl and I said I wanted to marry her. My mother said her family was poor and she was not worthy of me. But I'm just a shameless illegitimate child. It's good that someone likes me. I was excited and accidentally stabbed her. I really didn't mean it. I also regret it, but as my parents, Shouldn't they tolerate me? Who doesn't make mistakes when they are young? They are so cruel. I call them, and every time they answer the call, they hear my words sound and hung up the phone. Chiao Ningsun said quietly, "You don't need to tell us this. After you stabbed your mother, you were also suspected of driving without a license, hit and run, stealing, and robbery. If you have anything to say, go to the police station and talk to the police." Hearing that he was about to be arrested, Lu Yurong looked at Lu Yulian anxiously. "Sister, I was wrong. I was desperate, so I decided to come to you. I did all that because I was too hungry. I really couldn't help it. We are siblings. Please, don't send me to the police station. If I go in, my life will be ruined." Lu Yulian said with a complicated face, "It's useless to beg me. Your appearance has been exposed in the live broadcast room, and tens of millions of people have seen your face. Even if you get out of here safely today, you won't be free for long." Lu Yurong suddenly looked at the mobile phone that Jiao Ningsun had already held in his hand, his face turned pale, and he suddenly became desperate. After a while, the police came and took Lu Yurong away. Lu Yulian looked at Jiao Ningsun with gratitude. "Anchor, thank you very much for coming to help me personally." Jiao Ningsun was helpless. "Keep your eyes open in the future and don't be deceived again. You may not be so lucky to escape next time." Lu Yulian nodded. "Well, I will pay attention to it in the future." Jiao Ningsun didn't say anything more and left the community where Lu Yulian was. Utilizing the magic, she quickly returned to the Suo family mansion. Jiao Ningsun started the live broadcast again. "Hello everyone, so that you will no longer be deceived in the future, I want to say a few more words here. I generally don't pick up orders, but that's not always the case. I do pick up orders occasionally. If someone encounters a scammer using my name to defraud me again, you only need to ask him to log in to the Dolphin video account and then look at the homepage, or directly ask him to live broadcast, and you will know whether it is true or false. Of course, you can also send me a private message and determine whether it is me based on my reply. She will have military training after school starts, and she will definitely not be able to check her phone all the time. She can only say a few words to remind them." "Okay, Anchor. Don't worry, I won't be cheated. I am very smart," the host is concerned. "Jiao Ningsun, I still have 2 spots. Feel free to post any comments. Today I will choose people who are in urgent need to tell fortunes. If you are not selected, don't worry. There will be opportunities in the future." The live broadcast room is lively again. "Anchor, are you back home again? Is your place really close to where the liar is?" "That's right, the background behind you is the same as before." End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 422. Chapter 422. Where is the body? The anchor was so handsome just now and his kung fu was also very good. "Anchor, I have decided that I will not chase stars in the future, but I will chase you." Jiao Ningsun didn't care about those questions. They were all asked by people who wanted to know her true identity. After browsing hundreds of nicknames, she said, "Congratulations to the woman who studies martial arts, you have been selected." The woman studying martial arts was so excited that she quickly paid and applied for a connection. After a while, a woman in her 20s appeared in the live broadcast room. "A woman studying martial arts, Anchor, thank you so much for choosing me. Jiao Ningsun, this is the fate between you and me. It's your opportunity. Don't take it too seriously. If you have any questions, just tell me." "A woman studying martial arts, Anchor, the situation is like this. My family was originally very happy, but 2 years ago my mother suddenly left a letter saying that she was tired of her current life and left home. Later I called the police, and the police found my mother's shoes and mobile phone by the lake. The police concluded that my mother jumped into the river and died. I never believed it because my mother's body was never found. Last month, my father went to cancel my mother's household registration. Not long after, he came back with a woman and a child. The child was only 2 years old. Considering that my mother also left 2 years ago, I suspected that my mother's disappearance must be related to the mother and son. It's probably because my father deliberately said something to my mother to make her leave voluntarily in order to give the child a good reputation. So, Anchor, I would like to ask, is my mother not dead, but knowing that my father cheated on her, so she became disheartened and left on purpose? Xiaoningsun counted with her fingers. Your mother is indeed dead. The shoes found by the river were indeed your mother's. The reason why her body has not been found is because she was disguised as someone who jumped into the river. Her body was actually somewhere else and she was killed. The woman who studied martial arts said excitedly, then who killed my mother? You already have the answer in your mind. Who else could it be besides your father? Haha, your father is really cruel. If something happens to a married person and something happens to the spouse, it is usually the other half who is responsible. I agree with you. Upstairs, there were 2 murder cases around me, both committed by my significant other. I have read a lot of news. If something happens to a spouse, the police will be the first to investigate the spouse. This should be their experience in handling cases for many years. Xiaoningsun, the water friends are right, he is your father. The woman studying martial arts looked sad. Then where is my mother's body? Xiaoningsun, has your home been renovated before? Your mother's body is inside the TV wall. You can see it if you smash the wall. The woman studying martial arts was startled and asked in disbelief, my mother is in the TV wall? She has been at home for such a long time. Xiaoningsun, yes. After your father killed her, he cut her body into pieces and hid her in his refrigerator. Within 2 months, your home began to be renovated. Your father was engaged in many decoration industries. I like to do everything by myself, and I think it saves money, so I put your mother's bones in the TV wall after processing. The reason why he didn't throw the body outside was because he felt that if it were outside, it would be discovered soon, and then he would be suspected and go to jail. For my own safety, and to offend your mother, I want your mother to watch him live happily with his mistress and illegitimate child every day. You also know that he hates your mother because once your grandma was sick, and your mother had just had a major surgery at that time. She was weak and had to rest at home, so she didn't take care of her, which cost him thousands of caregivers. Faye, he has always been worried about this matter. Ah. This man is too vicious. That's right, my mother takes care of herself. What's the point of asking a patient to take care of the patient? Well, so marriage is a woman's second reincarnation. If she marries the wrong person, her life will be lost. After all, that mistress was also at fault. I don't believe that she didn't know that her first wife was killed, but she still showed affection in front of her corpse. If the mistress died, her first wife would definitely turn into a ghost and eat her. Her father is also a ruthless man. He lives in a house like this every day and is not afraid of others coming to him at night. The woman who studied martial arts felt extremely uncomfortable when she heard this. She stood up immediately and opened the door. Aren't you afraid that your father will kill you too? No matter what, you should call the police and ask the police to come and check. It is too dangerous to be alone. Yes, even if you know martial arts, it is still difficult to defeat a man. If a man dares to kill his first wife, he will dare to kill his first wife's daughter. Don't gamble on human nature. If you think you are his daughter, he will not dare to do anything to you. Yeah, some men feel that they don't need to give birth to children, they just need to put in some effort to have children, and they don't care about children at all. Xiaoningsun, don't worry, everyone, she will be fine. As soon as the woman who studied martial arts opened the door to her room, she saw a group of police standing outside. At this time, her father was being questioned, and the stepmother and her son were sitting on the sofa anxiously. Seeing her come out, her stepmother's face became obviously very nervous. The woman who studied martial arts breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the anchor had called the police for her again. As long as the police come, her mother can rest in peace. It turns out the police are here. The anchor is really clever. That woman is probably the stepmother of a woman who studies martial arts. She looks really bad. Yeah, standard White Lotus, green tea bitch. Upstairs, some men love to be bitchy, they like White Lotus flowers, green tea bitches, their eyes are as if they are blind. Haha, I agree with you upstairs. The old policeman looked at the man. Are you the master of this family? John Kiao nodded. Yes, my name is John Kiao. After speaking, he looked at the others and said, next to me are my wife, Zhao Xiao, my son Zhang Shenjiao, and my daughter Zhang Shengtong. I don't know, Mr. Police, what is the purpose of your coming here today? The old policeman said, we received a report that the body of your first wife is in this home. Zhang Qiao's face suddenly turned pale. Zhao Xiao's expression also changed instantly. Zhang Shengtong suddenly said, Mr. Police, our house was renovated after my mother disappeared. I watched TV shows. After some people killed someone, in order to prevent the body from being discovered, they would hide the body in the TV wall. Zhang Qiao frowned and shouted, speak of a man, what's the matter with your woman? Go back to my room and stay. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 423. Chapter 423, He is a human trafficker. Zhang Shengtong sneered, why should I go back to the room? Is it because you have something shameful that is going to be discovered? Or are you really asking me to say it correctly? Are you feeling guilty? Zhang Qiao said impatiently, I am your father, what can I do that is shameful? How could this be discovered? He obviously hid it very well. This kind of hiding technique on TV can at least ensure that no one will discover it for more than 10 years. This stinky girl actually guessed it correctly. Zhang Shengtong did not give in at all. If not, let me watch here. I want to see where my mother's body is. You, Zhang Qiao reacted instantly, did you call the police? Zhang Shengtong was non-committal. Zhang Qiao knew from her expression that this matter had something to do with her, and shouted, you white-eyed wolf, I am your father, and you actually asked the police to investigate me. I raised you in vain. Zhang Shengtong mocked, I grew up in my grandma's house until I was 18 years old. You didn't give my grandma any living expenses. It was all given by my mother. Later, when I lived with you, I made my own money to support myself. After my mother disappeared, I live with you, but I pay 2,000 for living expenses every month. When have you ever supported me? It's not enough for me to support you. Zhang Qiao saw the police officers looking at him with disdain, and suddenly felt a little embarrassed on his face. He raised his hand and wanted to hit his daughter. Stop, the old policeman warned coldly, are you sure you want to take action in front of us? Zhang Qiao had no choice but to retract his hand. The old policeman continued, you don't have to argue. The matter will be clear soon after we search. Zhang Qiao suddenly said in a cold voice, even if you are the police, you can't search my home casually. Where is the search warrant? Show me. The old policeman showed him the search warrant and said, okay now. Zhang Qiao choked and had nothing to say. The police already knew where the bodies were in the live broadcast room, so they didn't waste any time and just smashed the TV wall. A few minutes later, the bones scattered behind the TV wall finally came to light. Zhang Shengtong shouted with red eyes, "Mom!" The old policeman looked at Zhang Qiao. "What did you say?" Zhang Qiao said anxiously, I don't know." The old policeman said coldly, "At this time, if you are still making excuses, then go to the police station and talk about it." Zhang Qiao shouted, "I haven't broken any laws, and I don't know why there are corpses in the TV wall. You can't arrest me." "Old policeman, whether it is illegal or not, you will know after an investigation. If a body is found in your home, then you are suspected. We are just doing things according to the regulations. If you think what we are doing is unreasonable, you can file a complaint against us." After saying this, he asked people to take him and everyone present away. The remaining police officers continued to take out the bodies and protect the scene. Zhang Shengtong looked at the live broadcast room. "Anchor, I still have something to do. Thank you for today's matter, I will leave the broadcast first." Qiaoning Sun, "Okay." 2 minutes later, Qiaoning Sun selected the third lucky winner today, Food Lover, congratulations. The food lover was eating. When he saw that he was selected, he quickly sorted it out, paid the fee, and applied for a connection. After a while, a woman in her 40s appeared in the live broadcast room. Food lover, "Hello, host, thank you for choosing me." Qiaoning Sun, "You're welcome, what do you want to do?" Food lover, "Anchor, it's like this. I have no memory of when I was studying. Since I can remember, I have been with my husband. My husband said that I eloped with him. After marrying him, I had a high fever and then lost my memory. I have seen many doctors over the years, and I just want to cure my amnesia. I want to know who my relatives are and where my hometown is. But my husband said that there is no need to restore my memory. My family had long since disowned me because I wanted to elope with him. I listened to my husband very much in the past few years, so I didn't think of any way to recover. But as my children have grown up in the past 2 years, the more I want to know who my parents are. So Anchor, I want to ask, are my biological parents still there? Where are they from? Why do I feel like there is something wrong with her husband? Yes, if you really love your wife, how could you not help her recover her memory and reconcile with her family? My ex-husband said that men like to marry women who have a bad relationship with their mother's family, so that he can manipulate women and bully women at will. If there is a quarrel, women will have no place to go. Agree with the above. Some locals like to find wives from other places, because after a quarrel, the wives from other places have no place to go, so they can only go home obediently to protect their family status. I am not married yet, and my boyfriend is from out of town. He wants me to marry far away. What you said is so scary that I don't even dare to get married. Of course there are good people upstairs. If you really can't live with it, just leave. Anyway, there are more than two-legged men nowadays. That is, otherwise we can recruit a son-in-law. If you don't want to, just change him." Back to the topic, I feel that the husband of the food lover deliberately does not want her to contact her parents' family, and wants her to be by his side all the time. Some men are very possessive. Even if they don't like that person, they still want that person to be around them all the time. Agree upstairs. Qiaoning Sun counted his fingers and frowned. Your biological parents are still here, and your hometown is in Nanjing. You are from the city. The food lover was pleasantly surprised. Great, can I meet them then? Qiaoning Sun, of course, but your husband's statement that you eloped with him is false. The food lover was stunned. Fake. Qiaoning Sun, yes, it's fake. According to my calculations, your husband is actually a human trafficker. More than 20 years ago, in your first year after graduating from college, You took a car home alone. The trafficker saw you in the car, he took the initiative to get close to you. You were just out of school at that time, and you simply ate what he gave you. You quickly fell asleep in the car, and then he helped you get out of the car in a daze. Then he took you back to his home and wanted to sell you. But you were really beautiful at that time, and you were still a college graduate. The trafficker felt that it was a pity to sell you because it was difficult for him to meet someone as beautiful as you, so he wanted to keep you as his wife. Of course you were not willing to go on a hunger strike at first. Later you developed a high fever. The trafficker was reluctant to give up the money at first and did not send you to the hospital in time. When you woke up, you lost all your memory. You should have memories of what happened after that. I don't need to tell you. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 424. Chapter 424. Is my wife just for bullying? The food lover looked shocked and said, in other words, I didn't marry my current husband voluntarily at all. Jiaoning Sun, no, and your parents have been looking for you since you disappeared. The food lover's head suddenly hurt. What Jiaoning Sun said just now actually had fragments in her mind. What Jiaoning Sun said is actually all true. Her husband, the person she has taken care of for more than 20 years, is really a human trafficker. What are you doing? Suddenly, a strange man broke into the food lover's live broadcast room. As soon as the food lover turned his head, he saw his husband running over anxiously. He suddenly stood up and yelled unhappily, "What am I doing? I want to ask you again. You said that I eloped with you at first, but today the master said, you kidnapped me, and you are a trafficker that everyone calls me. I actually gave birth to 2 sons and 1 daughter to a trafficker. No wonder you have been away from home all these years. You go out for several months. Every time you come back, you can take tens of thousands of dollars home. I asked you how you earned the money, and you always said you earned it from business. I think that money is money from your human trafficking, isn't it?" The man's pupils shrank suddenly, but he quickly calmed down. People on the internet are all liars. They tell you not to listen to what they say on the internet, but you insist on listening. How could I be a human trafficker? Think about it carefully. I usually treat you. I'm also very concerned. Even if my parents were not nice to you, I would move you out directly. How could I be nice to you if I were really a trafficker? The food lover was stunned. In fact, if we look at it carefully, this person didn't treat her very well. In his eyes, did he always think he was very kind to her? Those fragments in her mind cannot be false. When the man saw this, he smiled and said, "Honey, there are really many scammers online, don't believe it." Jiaoning Sun suddenly said, "I'm not a liar. Her family is in Nanjing. Food lovers, you and your parents and brothers. Your parents have been in poor health because they lost you. Now your mother is in the hospital. As for your brother, most of the money he has earned over the years has been spent on you. His wife often quarrels with him and is on the verge of divorce. Food lovers, for such a person, make your real family. Can you bear to suffer?" When the man heard Jiaoning Sun's words, he immediately stepped forward to turn off the live broadcast. But he didn't know why, but his body couldn't move, and he could only watch helplessly as his wife picked up the phone again. Food lover asked, "Anchor, you mean, do you know where my parents are?" Jiaoning Sun, "Of course, and if you are willing, I can help you restore your memory, and then you can be reunited with your family. Before you were abducted, you were the family favorite, and they will be happy to have you back." The man yelled, "Don't go back." The food lover was stunned, "Don't go back. In other words, is what this anchor said true? Are you really the one who abducted me?" The man seemed to be crazy, and said with red eyes, "What's wrong with me? I just like you. Aren't you very happy with you following me all these years? Why do you have to go back?" Isn't it good that we live like this for the rest of our lives? After I kidnapped and trafficked you, I planned to stop doing illegal and criminal things. But in order to give you a good life, I have returned to my old business several times to let you live a good life. What else are you dissatisfied with? This man is too much. It's obviously his own selfishness. He wants to make money quickly, but in the end he blames the woman for the wrong thing he did. Some people are like this, they always like to make excuses for what they do. That's right, it's as if he had no choice but to live up to his conscience. Such a person must have a black heart. That's right, it's a black heart. The food lover frowned. In other words, you caused me and my family to be separated, and made my brother's family uneasy. The man smiled proudly and said, so what? They are stupid. They are just a woman. If you lose it, you will lose it. What are you looking for? You and I are a family now. If I go to jail, our children will die without a father, and if people find out that their father is a trafficker, can they still get a wife? So, you'd better not go back, otherwise you will definitely harm your children. 3 young people suddenly came over. Mom, don't worry about us, just do whatever you want, we are not afraid of not getting a wife. Yes, Mom, I'm not worried at all. Mom, I'm not afraid of not being able to get married. The man turned around and roared, you 3, I am your biological father, do you actually want your mother to abandon me? You 3 white-eyed wolves, have you forgotten how you grew up? When the 3 heard this, they took turns accusing him. Although you have provided for us, you have also treated us badly over the years. You didn't let us study after we graduated from junior high school, you said we were wasting money and asked us to go out to work. All the money we have earned from working over the years is in your hands. The 3 of us have not used you 100,000 yuan since we were young, but we have given you a total of more than 400,000 yuan. The kindness of raising us has been repaid. That is, our grades were so good back then, but you didn't want us to study, so now we can only do hard labor, working 12 hours a day, and we are so tired that we can't straighten our backs every day. If we could go to high school or even graduate from college, we wouldn't be so miserable now. When my mother knelt on the ground and begged you to continue to let us study, you actually beat her. Mom has knelt down for you countless times over the years for us, we all see how humiliating she has been in these years. You said you were good to my mother? Are you treating her well by marrying her and then abusing her? How many times have you done something to her over the years? How many times have you sent her to the hospital? How many times has she deliberately not done anything to prevent us from worrying? Tell us, do you want us to remember this? You said you moved out because of your mother, but in fact you offended someone back then and were afraid of retaliation, so you moved. The man shouted with red eyes, she is my wife, and wives are meant to be bullied. What's wrong with me marrying her so that she won't go hungry? With her appearance and IQ, she will be sold to the mountains sooner or later. Keep giving birth to children until you grow old and die. I saved her by marrying her. This man is really hard to describe. You really know how to make excuses for yourself. If he didn't kidnap food lovers, maybe someone else could marry a better man. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 425. Chapter 425. What daughter? That is, ruining other people's lives and still looking for excuses for oneself. Sure enough, a bad person never feels that he is a bad person, but feels that others are inherently indebted to him. The food lover's face was extremely disappointed. He knew that his husband was not a good character, but he didn't expect to be able to say such a thing. He looked at the live broadcast room and asked, "Anchor, where are my parents? Can you tell me?" "Qiaoning Suan, of course. Their residence is only half an hour away from you at this time." You should go quickly. It is at Nanshinj First Hospital. The food lover nodded, picked up the car keys and left the room. Her 3 children were worried that something might happen to her because she was too anxious, so they had no choice but to follow her. The man wanted to chase, but his body still couldn't move. When he could move, he met the police as soon as he went out. Your name is Siekishin, right? Siekishin nodded in fear. It's me. You are suspected of abducting women, come with us. Siekishin suddenly became desperate. Knowing that there was no point in resisting, he allowed the police to take him away. Chiaoning Suan, that's it for today's fortune telling. If you need it, I can continue next time. But I'm about to start school, so the next live broadcast will probably have to wait for a while. Anchor, do I still want to see the follow-up? I want to see food lovers and families recognize each other. I also want to see. Chiaoning Suan, this is a private matter for food lovers. If she is willing to live broadcast, you can go to her live broadcast room. Food lover, I can live broadcast, please come to my live broadcast room. Alright. Also. Goodbye, Anchor. Chiaoning Sun went down to wash up in a second, preparing to go back to Gushigo to practice at 12 o'clock. Half an hour later, the food lover arrived at the hospital. Chiaoning Sun sent her the ward number in a private message, so she quickly found the floor where her mother was. While on the road, for some reason, more memories of before marriage flashed into the food lover's mind. Now she completely believed what Chiaoning Sun said. Her 3 children followed her silently, giving her silent support. Just as she turned a corner, a woman rushed over from the corner. Accidentally, the leftover food in her hand spilled onto herself. Ah, my clothes! The woman looked at the person in front of her angrily and shouted sharply, why don't you look at the road when you are walking? Look, you ruined my clothes, you must compensate me. This person is so unreasonable. I saw the live broadcast just now. She was walking without looking at the road, so she hit her. That's right, this kind of person is extremely selfish. Even if he is at fault, he will not admit that he is wrong. Dressed like a young lady and come to the hospital to take care of patients? Could it be that he is here to sensationalize himself? I also find it a bit funny. Food lover Leng Shuang said, you serve the food yourself, and you walk the road yourself. If you watch the road, you won't get your clothes dirty. Leng Shuang's children also stepped forward at the same time. My mother should pay for it, and we will pay for it, but we all saw it just now, and it was you who didn't look at the road. I've seen it too. It's your own mistake. Why should my mother pay for it for you? That's right, the woman was left behind by 4 people and almost died of anger. You are really going too far. If you don't pay the money today, I will call the police. Leng Shuang was not afraid at all, reported, there is surveillance here. When the time comes, I will listen to the police. If the police ask me to pay, I will pay. When the woman saw the surveillance camera not far away, she thought that she had indeed been distracted just now, and there were 4 more people on the other side. If they really started to make trouble, she would definitely suffer. She suddenly said impatiently, I am unlucky today. I met such an unlucky person like you, damn it, get out of my way. Leng Shuang and his children had no choice but to get out of the way. This person is really unreasonable. There are many such people in society. I have also encountered someone who blamed the mistake on me even though it was clearly the other person's fault. Fortunately, I have a witness, otherwise I would have been frustrated to death for the rest of my life. Leng Shuang's eldest son saw oil spots on his mother's clothes and frowned, Mom, I'll chase her and ask her to pay for our clothes. There are oil spots on your clothes too. Leng Shuang looked at her clothes and said helplessly, forget it, I just saw a clothes seller next to the hospital. Let's go buy one and just wash this one. After saying that, she returned downstairs. When she returned to the door of her biological mother's ward, she saw that the door was closed, and she raised her hand to knock on the door. Just as she raised her hand, the door suddenly opened. When the woman saw the person in front of her, she shouted, "I don't even want you to pay, but you still come here. Do you want to bully others because of your own numbers? Leng Shuang, I'm not here to find you. Haha, we are really enemies on a narrow road." Could this person be a relative of a food lover? Very possible. There will be a good show. At this moment, other people in the ward heard the movement at the door and came out. A man in his 60s was shocked when he saw Leng Shuang's face. Who are you? Why does this man look so much like his wife when she was young? And also like his lost daughter? Leng Shuang recalled what Jiaoningsun sent her, and said seriously, "I saw the information about you looking for your daughter on the internet, and found that your daughter's photos are very similar to mine when I was young. After going to your home address, the neighbor said you are in this hospital." The man said excitedly, Can you show me a photo of you when you were young?" Leng Shuang took out the photo album and handed it over. Leng Liang looked through it carefully, and the more he looked at it, the more his hands trembled. You really look like my daughter." The old man on the hospital bed said, "What daughter?" Leng Liang turned around and said, "I seem to have found my daughter." With that said, he pulled Leng Shuang in and said, "This person's photos when he was young are the same as our daughter's, and she looks like you now." Tianjing looked at Leng Shuang's face on the hospital bed and burst into tears. What's your name? You really look like my daughter." "My name is Leng Shuang." The two old men were overjoyed at the same time, and they really had the same name as their daughter. The woman who just had a conflict with Leng Shuang, Li Qing, started to provoke, "Dad, Mom, you said she is your daughter? How is it possible? There has been no news for so many years, and she suddenly appears today. Is it weird? Could she be a liar, deliberately trying to steal your property? Hasn't this happened before? The scammer deliberately found someone who looks similar to you, just for your pension." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen. Chapter 426. Chapter 426, I have suffered all the hardships I have never experienced before. After all, you said in a previous interview that if your daughter comes back, you two have a combined pension of 40,000 yuan, and you don't want your daughter to support you, and you will give her 30,000 yuan a month. It's hard to guarantee that this person is not here for your pension. If Leng Shuang is really the daughter of her parents-in-law, wouldn't she have offended her sister-in-law just now? From now on, when she is here at home, won't she have to have another great serving her? The two old men looked at Leng Shuang expectantly. Although I don't like what my daughter-in-law said, what she said is right. However, they have a feeling that the Leng Shuang in front of them must be their biological daughter. Leng Shuang said, "She is right. Let's do a paternity test." Li Qing nodded, "Yes, if this person is a liar, we would have sent her away earlier." The two old men did not object. Early the next morning, they did a paternity test. This hospital can provide urgent treatment, so they got the identification results in the afternoon. At this time, Leng's family members are all in the hospital. Leng Liang excitedly showed the results to his wife. "Leng Shuang is really our daughter." Tianjing looked at Leng Shuang and cried, "My daughter, you have suffered. I thought I would never see you again in this life." Leng Shuang stepped forward and hugged Tianjing. "I'm okay, I didn't suffer much, but it's all thanks to you." Tianjing, how have you lived these years? Leng Shuang briefly talked about what happened in these years. That's it, my memory has not been fully recovered yet. Li Qing's face was extremely uncomfortable. This person is really a sister-in-law. Suddenly, Li Qing noticed Leng Shuang's 3 children, in other words, these children are all the children of human traffickers. Leng Shuang hurriedly explained, they are very nice people, different from their father. Don't hurt them. Li Qing snorted, you say they are good, does that mean they are good? What if one day they imitate their father and hurt our family? Tianjing frowned and said, Li Qing, if you don't welcome my daughter and grandchildren back, you can leave. Don't think that I don't know what you are thinking. You just think that after my daughter comes back, the property I gave you will less. I will tell you clearly now that even if I don't find her, I will leave it to her. If you have any objections, I will give everything that belongs to your husband to my daughter. Li Qing was shocked, how can that be done? The 2 old men had good jobs and accumulated a lot of assets. Not only did they own more than 10 houses, they also saved a lot of gold in the bank. They even had a room at home dedicated to storing antiques. Those assets add up to more than 50 million. Okay, Mom, that's all I'm saying. Leng Liang thought about what happened yesterday and asked, did you 2 have a conflict yesterday? Leng Shuang said, it's not a big deal, it's just, that's how it is. Li Qing hurriedly explained, I didn't know she was my sister-in-law yesterday. If I knew she was my sister-in-law, I definitely wouldn't have said that. Tianjing said, if you still think you are my daughter-in-law, apologize to my daughter and give her the money for the clothes. If there hadn't been surveillance yesterday, I think you would have successfully extorted money again. You have done this kind of thing before thing. Leng Shuang thought of Jiao Ningxun saying that her eldest sister-in-law was going to divorce her eldest brother, and was worried that it would affect the relationship between them, so she hurriedly said, Dad, Mom, I'm fine. My eldest sister-in-law doesn't know it's me. She didn't mean it. Li Qing hurriedly nodded in agreement, yes, I really didn't mean it. So, in order to welcome my little sister home, I am willing to give her a red envelope worth 1,000 yuan, and also give one to each of her children. 1,000 yuan? The dress she wore yesterday was worth several $1,000s. That's right, the food lover's mother lives in a single room, and their family is not short of money. Sure enough, the richer people are, the stingier they are. Agree upstairs. Leng Liang frowned, 1,000. My son earns more than 100,000 per month, and I will give you at least 20,000 per month. As a sister-in-law, you are giving so little to your sister-in-law and nephews who have just returned home. Are you embarrassed? You're so stingy, why don't you just get divorced? Didn't you always want a divorce before my daughter came back? Li Jing choked. She really wanted a divorce before. Who asked her husband to be filial? All the money he earned except for her was given to her sister-in-law. Now that my sister-in-law is back, my husband's salary can be saved. It is hard to find a man with a monthly income of more than 100,000 yuan, not to mention the type of husband she likes. Li Jing thought about it for a moment, then said with a heartbroken look on her face, let's do this. I'll give my sister-in-law a red envelope of 20,000 yuan, and I'll give each of my nephews 10,000 yuan in red envelopes. Is that okay? Leng Liang was satisfied, this is more or less the same. Leng Shuang said a few more words, then found a hiding place and continued the live broadcast, everyone, this is the situation of my family recognition. Thank you for your concern. It's okay, you still have one thing to do, and that is to get a divorce. Hurry up and end the relationship with the trafficker. Be careful in the future if the family of the victim who was trafficked by the trafficker recognizes you, your life will probably not be the same in the future. Very good. Yes, you are also a victim, please deal with your own affairs quickly. I feel that your sister-in-law is very difficult to get along with, you should be careful in the future. When you encounter something that you are not sure about, you must come back to the anchor. The anchor can really help. Leng Shuangshuang nodded, okay, thank you for reminding me. After Leng Shuangshuang was released, he was preparing to get a divorce. Although it took some time, I finally got divorced and lived a happy life with my family. Of course, this is something. 2 days later, Qiao Qingjin and Qiao Chengxiang went to the detention center. Seeing their parents wearing handcuffs and leg shackles, they were extremely frightened. Lu Hehua saw her son coming and asked quickly, Xiao Jin, Xiao Xiang, are you okay? Are your grandparents taking care of you? She hoped in her heart that Jiao Kongsheng just deliberately said angry words that day and said he would not care about them. The two of them are, after all, the grandsons of the old Jiao family. Qiao Qingjin and Qiao Chengxiang thought about how they had to do everything themselves, chopping firewood, washing clothes, cooking, and cleaning housework in the past 2 days. And they have never done that at all. At home, they have always stretched out their hands for clothes and opened their mouths for food. In the past 2 days, it can be said that I have suffered all the hardships I have never experienced in my life. At night, they always feel like there is a ghost in their home and wake up many times every night. Sometimes they even heard a knock on the door outside. They were so scared that they didn't dare to get up to check the situation. They could only hide in bed and tremble, not even daring to go to the convenience store. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 427. Chapter 427 Sophistry. Qiao Qingjin suddenly said with a look of resentment, Dad, Mom, why do you do that kind of thing? Do you know what kind of life we are living now? We don't want to follow our grandparents and go to their homes to suffer, so we want to follow our grandparents, but they don't care about us at all, let alone us, even the youngest Qiao Liki and Qiao Lishan. Now we are taking care of ourselves, we have to do everything ourselves. If school hadn't started soon, we would still have to grow and sell vegetables to supplement our family income. It would be extremely hard. In the past few days, we have also had enough of the glares from the villagers, especially those who work at our grandparents' home. Seeing us is like seeing a plague. People in the village who had played well with us in the past also laughed at us, saying that we were the sons of kidnappers, and they were unwilling to have contact with us anymore. Even the girl I like, her whole family was very happy when they saw me before. Now when their family sees me, it's like seeing the plague coming. Qiao Chengxiang then complained, in the past 2 days, we have suffered all the grievances we have never suffered in our lives. It's all because of you. Why do you break the law? I really want to be a soldier, but it's because of you that I can't do it in my life. Come on, you two destroyed us. We hate you. Qiao Jianmo and Lu Hehua were startled. They did not expect that their children would have such thoughts. Lu Hehua said with red eyes, you hate us? Everything we do is for you, to make you live a good life. How could we not know that kidnapping is illegal? But for you and for quick money, we can only kidnap Qiaoning Sun. If you want to blame, you should blame your grandparents for why they called the police. We all succeeded. As long as they don't call the police, you will have a house in the city to live in the future, and you will also have to pay for college and a wife. You can also blame Qiaoning Sun. She is so rich and can drive a luxury car worth tens of millions, but she is reluctant to give our relatives a way to survive. So what if we are kidnappers? We just want money, we don't want to kill anyone. No matter how much you blame, you can't blame us. If it weren't for the existence of you two, if it weren't for the fact that you two are boys, would I do such an immoral thing for you? Qiao Qingjin suddenly fell silent. Even though he complained about his parents, when he saw that his mother was about to cry, his heart was not made of stone, so he immediately softened his heart. Qiao Chengxiang was older and had a better brain, and shouted, "You are all sophistry. Why do other people make money through legal channels? You are the only one who can actually kidnap your relatives in order to make money quickly. Such a thing." Qiao Chenjin also reacted, "Yes, you can do business and other things. I heard that during the time when you were unemployed, someone in the village also introduced you to jobs, and there were even more lucrative decoration jobs. The introducer said that his decoration team is short of people. As long as you work hard, the two of you can earn tens of thousands of yuan a month combined. If we work harder, it's possible for two people to earn 20,000 yuan a month. Even after I get a job, I can take over my own work and start my own decoration company. If I work more and do well in the future, it is possible to earn hundreds of thousands a month. What did you say at that time, that the decoration was so tiring and dirty, that even if you could earn 20,000 yuan or 200,000 yuan a month, it would still be unseemly if you don't go, let the introducer introduce you to a decent job. Later, that person introduced you to a decent job and asked you to work in an office, but you thought the salary was low, and you had to wait on customers and serve tea and water every day, so you had to suffer. You can't bear the hardship, and you don't want to do this. I dislike that. I don't keep my feet on the ground, I only know how to make quick money by taking shortcuts. No wonder I am ending up like this." Qiao Jianmo and Lu Hehua were silent. Even if the son doesn't say anything, they still don't feel that they are at fault. When their son told them, they also felt that they were indeed a bit pretentious before. Lu Hehua thought for a long time before she came up with a retort, "We also want to make money quickly for you too. When we go to do decoration, if we encounter difficult customers and have no income for several months, we have to repay the money." Qiao Chenjin snorted, "You are overthinking that. As long as you do a good job, who will find trouble? Now is a society ruled by law, you can also sue them. You would rather go to the construction site to do odd jobs than listen to the introducer. Are you still taking advantage of your family's capital? Is this for us? If you really want to do it for us, you should do the renovation and get back 10,000 or 20,000 a month." Lu Hehua choked and could not refute. Qiao Jianmo began to change the subject. "Okay, don't talk about that. You just said that your grandparents don't care about you at all. So where do you get the money to live these days?" When it came to money, Qiao Chengxiang lost his confidence and felt guilty. "I have your bank card at home. I know the password, so I went to the city's ATM and withdrew some money." Not only that, he and his brother also used the money to buy a lot of things that their parents were reluctant to buy for them before. It was not until they entered the password that they realized that there was actually so much money at home. They have never seen so much money. After that, they went to the mall and bought a lot of good things. Now, there is only 30,000 yuan left in the bank card. Qiao Jianmo frowned. "How do you know the password?" Qiao Chengxiang felt a little guilty and evaded his eyes. "When I went to withdraw money with you before, I saw you enter the password, so I remembered it with an extra thought." "You," Qiao Jianmo yelled, "that money is all my hard-earned money, you are not allowed to misuse it." Yesterday, Qiao Kongsheng came and said that Qiao Ningxun was kidnapped and they could be asked to compensate for mental damages. But for the sake of the relationship between father and son, they are not required to make financial compensation. They were happy these past 2 days, but they didn't expect their son to pour cold water on them. No wonder Qiao Kongsheng was so generous. It turned out that he wanted his son to lose all the money by himself and make the couple angry to death. Lu Hehua was also unhappy and said, "Yes, if you are hungry, go to your grandparents." "I don't believe it. If you are really hungry, will they not let you in? If they don't let you in, you will stalk them. Don't be afraid of losing face. Saving money is more important." Qiao Jianmo looked sad. "I asked the police before. We estimate that we will be sentenced to more than 20 years. Even if the sentence is reduced, we will still have to serve more than 10 years in prison. You are all still studying. If you don't save some money, the money you spent in college will not even be used. If you don't use it, then you won't have money to study. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 428. Chapter 428 Life Imprisonment. Lu Hehua also said, yes, you must not use it indiscriminately. You can't make money. If you use it a little, you will get less. More than 10 years in prison? Qiao Chenjin and Qiao Chengxiang turned pale. They bought laptops, mobile phones, and tablets, all of which were well equipped and cost tens of thousands. Seeing the faces of his sons, Lu Hehua had an ominous premonition in his heart. You don't spend money carelessly, do you? Qiao Jianmo roared angrily, explain to me honestly how much you spent. Qiao Chenjin could only tell about the electronic products he and his brother bought. What? You actually bought such expensive things? Lu Hehua felt dizzy in front of her eyes and said excitedly, You are too ignorant. You spent the money. I wonder how you will go to college in the future? You guys, do you really want to work after graduating from high school? Qiao Ningxun and the He brothers, they all graduated from Huaxia University. If you just graduated from high school, will you still be able to hold your heads high in front of them in the village? I was reluctant to buy myself even one new piece of clothing during the Chinese New Year, just to save money. I didn't expect you to be so extravagant. You are so sad. You two are here to collect debts. Get out of here, I never want to see you again. Qiao Jianmo also yelled, you two prodigal sons, when the time comes you won't have money to go to college, don't regret it. Qiao Chenjin was scolded and became angry. What qualifications do you have to scold us? No matter how ignorant we are, we would never kidnap people. You yourself have behaved badly, so what qualifications do you have to educate us? Qiao Chengxiang said, brother, let's go. No one will care about us in the future. We can play how we want. Our grades are not very good to begin with, and we will definitely not be able to get into college. It is better to spend money on us earlier. Let's enjoy it early. Qiao Chenjin, okay, let's go. The two of them really got up and left. Qiao Jianmo and Lu Hehua felt very sad when they saw the two of them leaving without looking back. Lu Hehua cried and said, this is your good son. They only know that they are living a good life and have never thought about our good intentions. White-eyed wolf, I have raised them for nothing in my life. Qiao Jianmo was extremely regretful at this time. His sons could say such indifferent words, and they were obviously already crooked. These are your sons too. If you hadn't pampered them, how could they have looked like this? Lu Hehua, you still blame me? Don't you pamper them too? When I ask them to do housework, you often say that they will marry wives in the future anyway. If they have a wife to take care of them, they don't need it at all. Doing housework. It's very embarrassing for men to do housework. Qiao Jianmo, men have no dignity when doing housework. Only those who are afraid of their wives do housework. How can they hold their heads high in the village in the future? I do it for their own good. Lu Hehua, then you mean that you are not wrong at all. Qiao Jianmo, of course I'm right. It's all your fault. If you hadn't suggested that we kidnap Qiao Ningxun, we wouldn't have been caught. It's all because of you. You destroyed yourself and my sons. You've also ruined my grandchildren. If my son can't get a wife because of the two of us, I'll kill you first when I get out. Lu Hehua, kill me? You're a heartless person. When you saw the money, your eyes went straight. It was you who proposed to kill Zhong Yun's Hung and give us 6 cents. Now that you are caught, you will put all the blame on me. I'm not as shameless as you. The two of them were arguing with each other. The police saw that something was going on inside. so they quickly came in and locked them all up again. The situation of Xiao Jianzhou and Xiao Jianyu there is similar to that here. However, their 4 children are young and dare not spend money randomly for the time being. As long as their parents scare them, they will not obediently. Although the 4 people also hated their parents, they did not dare to say anything because they wanted to live a good life for themselves. After hearing their parents' instructions to save money, they left. After returning home, under the instigation of Qiao Qingjin and Qiao Chengxiang, I also wanted to buy those electronic products. But because they are too young, shopping guides are afraid that their parents will come back and cause trouble, so they dare not sell to them. Some well-meaning shopping guides even called the police. After Qiao Kongsheng received the call, he had no choice but to take them back. As a grandfather, he asked the village chief to come forward and let the village manage their family's bank cards on their behalf, and it was enough to pay them a fixed living allowance every month. It just so happens that they have 2 children in their family, and it is easy to divide the money. Divide the money into 2 parts. When they grow up, if there is any left over, give them their own share. Qiao Kongsheng was not soft-hearted, but let them use up all their money. When they were hungry and had problems, he would definitely be condemned as he lived in the same village. Who made these his grandchildren? Although the 6 children were unwilling to hand over the money, under the threat of the village chief, he refused to pay them any attention. They have no choice but to hand over their bank cards. From then on, they received a fixed pocket money from the village every month, and the village sent someone to top up their school meal cards with enough money for a week. At first they thought the village chief was just scaring them, but within a week, they had used up all their pocket money for a month. When they asked the village chief for money for the second time within a month, the village chief did not tolerate them and drove them away. Anyway, as soon as they return to school, they can swipe their meal cards. They still have rice at home on Saturdays and Sundays, so they won't starve to death. Seeing that the village chief really does what he says, the 6 children gradually became more honest, otherwise they would still be the ones suffering. Of course, this is all for later. The 3 sons and daughter-in-law of the Qiao family were sentenced to life imprisonment because neither the old Qiao family nor Suo Jingguo gave them a letter of understanding because of the huge amount of extortion and attempted murder. Zhou Yunzhong contributed the most, and he was the one who planned the kidnapping. He even got the unlicensed trucks and vans. So even if Lu Hehua proposed this matter, although he did not try to kill anyone, he was still sentenced to life imprisonment. Qiao Ningxun didn't use Xiaoha to aggravate their charges, he just frightened them for a while. After all, if she deliberately framed others, it would be difficult for her to explain if others saw Xiaoha with her in the future. If someone pushed her into trouble, she might even go to jail. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 429. Chapter 429 School starts. She is also a cultivator, so she cannot do anything that goes against the laws of heaven. Otherwise it would be of no benefit to her cultivation of immortality. So after a while, she took the initiative to tell the police that Xiaoha was back on his own. The police stopped interrogating the 7 of them about Xiaoiche, and the procuratorate quickly prosecuted them, and they were sentenced not long after. At this point, every time Qiao Ningxun returns to Daguo village, he is finally a little quieter. There are no more relatives who always come over to talk to their old Qiao family in a strange way. Of course, this is something to talk about later. The time is coming soon when Huaxia University is about to start school. Since they still had to make a lot of preparations after arriving in the capital, they set off 2 days in advance. As for their personal cars, the shipping company has sent them to the capital in advance. It is easier for them to fly there directly. The Suo family proposed to send Xiaoningsun there on a private plane, but she refused. She has not yet agreed to officially return to the Suo family. She always uses the Suo family's resources, which makes her feel a little guilty. He Yuanhui originally wanted Guan Yiwen and Wei Dongchen to go with them, but they were still working part-time in the fields of Lao Qiao's family. Thinking that if they work one more day, they can earn one more day and have more living expenses in the future, so they decided to go to the capital the day before school starts. He Yuanhui did not force them and went there with his family first. The three of them arrived in the capital, picked up their cars, and then arrived at the place where they wanted to stay. He Yuanyang does not live on campus either. Since the start of school last year, he has been living in a house they invested in the capital. When the three of them invested last year, they bought a house near Huaxia University. However, land in Beijing is very expensive, and houses near Huaxia University are also very expensive, let alone villas. At the beginning, they had limited money, so the house they bought was just an ordinary elevator room. However, it can be regarded as a high-end community in Beijing. Of course, after that, they had more money and they also bought a villa in the capital. But the location is a bit far from the school, and they don't plan to stay there for a long time. In order to facilitate their studies, they live in a house near the school. Xiaoningsun will not wrong herself, although she can travel between Daguo village and the capital in an instant, and can bring some fruits and vegetables she has given birth to from home. But this is quite troublesome, and if her cousin tastes the same as home, or if there are suddenly fewer vegetables in the house, it will be difficult for her to explain, and she doesn't want to scare the family. So even if it was a house near the school, she bought a loft house with a garden on the roof. The top floor can be used for growing vegetables, as well as a resting room and a pavilion. There are also 4 rooms on the lower floor. The 2 floors combined are almost 300 square meters. As for He Yuanyang and He Yuanhui, she originally suggested that they buy the penthouse, but they didn't like it. They also said that she already had enough planting area here, and if they planted it themselves, they wouldn't be able to come and help her. Xiaoningsun didn't force them. They bought 2 apartments below her floor, but they were also double-story. Later she found out that they actually just wanted to be closer to her so that they could help her. After all, the top floor of the house next to hers on the same floor has been sold. If she wanted to buy the top floor, she would have to buy other buildings. The house was renovated last year with someone. Furniture and other items were purchased last year, so they only need to buy some daily necessities and essential appliances and move in directly. Xiaoningsun opened the door and moved the luggage inside. This is the first time she has come here since her house was renovated, so you can imagine how much dust there is inside. Just when I was about to place an order online for cleaning, a group of people wearing cleaning clothes appeared at the door. The leading man knocked on the unlocked door and asked, "Is this Miss Jiao?" Xiaoningsun nodded, "It's me." The man said, "Hello, Miss Jiao, we are people sent by housekeeper Suo to help you clean the house." Xiaoningsun was a little helpless. No wonder butler Suo called her before and asked about the situation of her house. The man continued, "Don't worry about your cousin's house. Our colleagues are already downstairs and we will be responsible for cleaning it. Housekeeper Suo will also send people to buy daily necessities and electrical appliances later. It's fully equipped. During this period, you can go to other places in the capital to have some fun. When you come back in the evening, you can just rest." Xiaoningsun secretly sighed that the identity of the eldest lady of the Suo family is really useful. Everyone has arrived at the door, so she did not refuse, "Okay, please." After saying that, she took the seeds and went to the top floor to scatter some. After watering, she went to find her cousin, planning to have a good meal first. So not long after, the 3 of them each drove their own Ferraris to a private restaurant near Huaxia University. After parking the car, The three of them walked directly inside. Just as they reached the door, a feminine voice came from behind the three of them. He Yuan Yang. The three of them turned their heads at the same time and saw two girls walking from a short distance away. Qiao Ningxun asked, "Cousin, are you a classmate?" He Yuan Yang nodded, "Yes, we are in the same class." Yan Mengrui saw Qiao Ningxun standing next to He Yuan Yang and frowned. "He Yuan Yang, is she your girlfriend?" Qiao Ningxun raised his eyebrows. Is he his cousin's suitor again? But this person's character is not very good. If he is really with his cousin, he will cause him a lot of trouble. He Yuan Yang said expressionlessly, "So what if it is? So what if it's not?" Yan Mengrui's face was filled with sadness. "Didn't you say you wouldn't know how to have a girlfriend? Did you say that before because you didn't like me and you rejected me on purpose?" He Yuan Yang, "That's right, I don't like you." Yan Mengrui looked at Qiao Ningxun. "What good is she? That makes you reject me for her." He Yuan Yang, "She is better than you in everything." "You," Yan Mengrui ran away crying. Xie Qian next to her frowned and said, "He Yuan Yang, even if you don't like Mengrui, there's no need to say such hurtful words, right? She just likes you and hasn't done anything wrong." He Yuan Yang, "You just like me, haven't you done anything wrong? Then who is it? Whenever you see a girl talking to me, you run to warn others, or even scare others into getting sick and hospitalized. After I warned her, she deliberately asked someone to take photos of her and me from a special angle, making people mistakenly think that I was dating her. It took me a long time to prove that I had nothing to do with her, and it affected my life. Coursework. I just don't like her. What did I do wrong?" Xie Qian was startled and said uncomfortably, "They are timid themselves, and we didn't do anything. We just told them to stay away from you. Forget it, I won't tell you any more." After saying that, she went to chase Yan Mengrui. He Yuan Yang sighed, "Cousin, I'm sorry, I know what you are capable of. I can only use you to reject that person for the time being." End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 430. Chapter 430 Is this car yours? It is estimated that only my cousin can deal with that Yan Mengrui. Qiao Ningxun smiled and said, "It's okay, I'm happy to be your shield." The three of them didn't waste any more time and went in to eat. It didn't take long for Xie Qian to catch up with Yan Mengrui. "Mengrui, okay, don't be angry. He Yuan Yang is not the only handsome man in the world. He may just not like your type." Yan Mengrui said with a gloomy face, "Are I really different from the girl next to him?" Xie Qian shook her head, "Of course it's different. You're much prettier than her." Yan Mengrui instantly became confident again, "Then He Yuan Yang doesn't like me. Is it because he has no vision?" Xie Qian, "Yes, I heard that He Yuan Yang grew up with his second aunt and was abandoned by his parents since he was a child. A person like him is not worthy of you. You are a rich lady, and with a status like He Yuan Yang's, not worthy of you." Yan Mengrui, "You are right, He Yuan Yang really doesn't know what is good and what is evil." Xie Qian, "Next time I will introduce my brother to you. My brother is a star. He is very handsome. You have also seen him. We are going to eat now. It is important to have a full stomach." Yan Mengrui, "Just introduce your brother. I've seen your brother's photos. I don't like people in the entertainment industry." Xie Qian was a little embarrassed. "I just said casually, let's not talk about this anymore and go to eat." Xie Qian, "Okay. It's just that the nearby restaurants all share a large parking lot. Although they didn't eat in the same restaurant, after eating, the people on both sides met again." Yan Mengrui was looking for her car when she saw He Yuan Yang getting into a Ferrari not far away. The two people with him also got into a Ferrari each. Yan Mengrui said in astonishment, Qian, didn't you say that he Yuan Yang came from the countryside? How can he drive a Ferrari? And that car seems to be better than my car. Qian was also very puzzled and looked at a loss. I don't know, he is indeed from a rural area, a place called Deguo village in Nanjing city. I have seen his information on the student union's computer. That's it? Is he Yuan Yang an invisible rich man? In this case, wouldn't her eldest brother have no hope at all? Yan Mengrui's family is also rich, and now he and he Yuan Yang are of the same family. Yan Mengrui quickly stepped forward and came to he Yuan Yang's car. He Yuan Yang had already turned on the turn signal. When he saw the person appearing next to him, he lowered the window and frowned, "What else do you want?" Yan Mengrui glanced at the car and said with a complicated face, Is this car yours?" He Yuan Yang said quietly, "It's mine." Yan Mengrui was puzzled, "Why do you say it has the final say?" He Yuan Yang, "Because it was given to me by a relative." This is what he and Xiaoningsun agreed upon. Originally, he wanted to tell the truth. When someone asked about it in the future, he would say that Xiaoningsun gave it to him. But Xiaoningsun said that this would make her appear too high profile and she wanted to be more low-key. He Yuan Yang could only follow her. Qian breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be a gift from a relative. He Yuan Yang is really just a pauper from the countryside? Yan Mengrui asked with some disappointment, "Who gave it to me?" She thought that he Yuan Yang's family also had money, so he would be considered a match for her family. Once her family knew about it, they would definitely not object. He Yuan Yang said indifferently, "This is none of your business. Get out of the way. We are going home." Yan Mengrui remained motionless and looked at the other two Ferraris. "What about their cars? Are they also given as gifts?" He Yuan Yang, "This is none of your business. If you don't get out of the way, I'll call the police." Yan Mengrui gritted her teeth with a sad look on her face. "Do you have to be so cruel to me? I really like you." He Yuan Yang, "Thank you for your like, but I can't bear your like." "You." Yan Mengrui suddenly stood in front of He Yuan Yang's car and made a gesture of blocking the car. "If you don't let me get in your car today, then I won't leave. You can call the police. Come on, I won't leave either." Qian had no choice but to stand next to Yan Mengrui. He Yuan Yang was very helpless. Xiaoningsun glanced at Qian. Qian didn't know why, but she suddenly pulled Yan Mengrui away from He Yuan Yang's car. He Yuan Yang saw this and drove away quickly. Xiaoningsun and He Yuan Hui also quickly followed. Seeing that the person she liked was gone, Yan Mengrui yelled dissatisfied, "Qian, why did you pull me away? Look, he is gone now, and I don't know when I want to see him next time." Qian also looked at her hands in disbelief and quickly explained, I don't know, but you know that I have always been on your side and supported you in pursuing He Yuan Yang. But just now my hands seemed to be controlled by someone, and I couldn't help but pull you aside. I couldn't figure it out." Yan Mengrui saw that her expression didn't look fake, and seeing that she had helped him before, she said impatiently, "Okay, let's forget it this time. If it happens again next time, our friends won't have to do it." Qian nodded awkwardly. She was also extremely sad. They had been classmates for 1 year, but Yan Mengrui actually said such harsh words to her. After the three brothers and sisters left the parking lot, He Yuan Yang took them to familiarize themselves with the route of the capital. With some time left after that, He Yuan Yang found the nearest scenic spot and took them in for a walk. At night, the three brothers and sisters returned home, and sure enough, everything was tidied up. Not only were the beds made, but the refrigerator was also filled with food, so they didn't have to worry about buying anything. He Yuan Yang also came back after more than 2 months. There was a lot of dust in the house, and it was also cleaned at this time. After the three of them washed up, they lay on the bed and sent each other WeChat messages. Cousin, we have benefited from you, and the Suo family has been very considerate. Cousin, the Suo family is really kind to you. As long as you are satisfied. After a few more sentences, everyone fell asleep. Just not long after Xiaoningsun fell asleep, she suddenly opened her eyes, used the air to retrieve something, and brought Xiaoha over from the Guo village. She has always wanted to know what Xiaoha is thinking, but Xiaoha seems to know what she is thinking. He has been avoiding her since he unlocked animal language and mind reading skills. Little Ha was sleeping soundly in the doghouse. He vaguely felt someone pushing him, so he turned his head and bit the hand pushing him. Xiaoningsun quickly retracted his hand and hit the dog's head hard. It's me. If your dog's nose doesn't work, I can help you cut it off. Xiaoha woke up instantly, stood up awkwardly, and rubbed Xiaoningsun's feet. Xiaoningsun, Xiaoha, come on, let's communicate and add some feelings. Xiaoha is sitting. Do we need to increase our feelings? Xiaoningsun, of course it is necessary. End of this chapter.